Hey everybody, it's Dana and welcome back to my YouTube channel and blog. Today I'm going to be doing a quick review, or maybe not so quick review, of the Genuine Crafts watercolor pens. The company reached out to me and asked me would I like to do a review of their product, and I ended up with the 100 watercolor set. And as you can see, it has a arrangement of colors on here. The one thing I do like is that I can already see that there are a good color combinations of all the colors, like the yellows, a lot for greens. I like to paint a lot of flowers, so I have some great pinks in there. I have some great oranges in there. The only thing I'm really not seeing is like a bright red. But I can mix some oranges and some yellows together. Oh, here's some reds. I'm sorry, there are reds right here in the middle. So yeah, you're gonna get a ton of colors in this set. So let's go ahead and open up the packaging. So these all come neatly packed in trays. So as you can see, they're just stacked one on top of the other. And I can already do a happy dance because I love the colors. Love the colors. So I think I might actually just keep them in these trays. I don't want to like tilt too hard, but can you see how pretty that looks if it was just like sitting on the side of your desk? Gorgeous. So I thought today we would test out some of these markers on some different kinds of paper. So I cut down a little square piece of all the watercolor paper, hot press paper, and Bristol paper I have in my craft room. And I thought we would go ahead and test these out to see what paper might be best for these, and also to just kind of see the vibrancy of them. Now, I don't want to show all of these because that would be a very extensive video, but I am going to pick a couple of colors from within each tray to get us started. So I think I'm just going to grab out a green out of this one, move that aside, and we'll take a pretty pink out of the second tray. We'll do a red out of this one. And then we'll do a teal color because like teal is my fave. So we'll grab those colors. And now let's go over the paper. So like I said, I have a couple of brands here. So I have the Fluid Hot Press. I have the BLICK Bristol Smooth, the Strathmore Bristol paper, the Strathmore Cold Press, Arches Cold Press, Canson XL, that's the large pack. Cold press, fluid cold press, Spectrum Aqua, so this is Crafter's Companion, and then I have Stonehenge cold press paper. So these are the papers that I normally keep in my craft room. Now I do know some of these types of markers do work well on Bristol paper. I have a hard time using any of these kind of watercolor pens on Bristol paper, but I thought we would go ahead and give it a try. So I'm going to just lay out my papers off to the side, and then we'll just go ahead and get started. So I'm just going to grab 4 of these and put them down. Now I am using my waffle flower water mat, which I absolutely love. It's now a staple that sits off to the side of my desk. It's perfect for watercoloring, mixing your colors on here, everything. It's great. All right, and I'm gonna go ahead and set these aside so I don't mess these up. The first thing I wanna do is I'm just going to use some water pens that have already been filled with water. These are just regular water brushes. I have a smaller tip one here, and then I have a larger tip one here. I just thought I would try both of them on here. Now there's several ways I want to do this. I want to do it direct to the paper. I also want to pick it up off the mat. And then I want to do like a dry across it to see how I can pull the color to get like a very pretty gradient. And then I'll do a quick color wash with them. Alrighty, let's get started. So I'm just going to grab one of the colors. These are black, you can see in the barrel, and it does have the color at the end. There's no color name on the sides of the barrel, but you can see within the barrel where your tip is. So it's a pretty long tip, if you guys can see that. It's a pretty nice size tip, and the tips seem to be really flexible, which is good as well. I'm also, before I get started, going to grab myself out just a few baby wipes. So I have that on hand to clean off my mat. All right, so I will start with just a dry brush. This is just a dry technique, not adding any water to the paper yet. I'm just gonna kind of put it on the paper, kind of like just let it sit there for a second till I can come back to it. And then I'll go ahead and scribble that down. And now I just want to see how it moves on the paper. Again, this already has water in the brush. So I'm just going to start this off on the side, make sure I have water coming out. And I'm glad I did that because I did have some color in there. So I must have used this for something else. So we'll just make sure that's cleaned off. All right, and we're ready to go. All right, so now I'm just gonna come in and see how the color moves on this Arches paper. So with the dry technique, I am seeing some streaking on there. And remember, the cold pressed watercolor paper has texture to it. So you might get that with any of these. I'm going to go on to the fluid. Same thing, but I am able to pull out that color a little bit. Canson, we'll go over. Same thing, and then, sorry for my reach, I'm actually going to move these as I do them. I'll do the Strathmore. So it really did move well on the Strathmore paper. So that, I like that. That's a good sign for me. Now I'm going to go ahead and color just some of it on this mat. Oh, you know what? Let's do another color. Let's do another color. Let's get colorful on these swatches. I'm going to take that teal color, just put it on my mat, and then I'm just going to pick up some of the color and go directly to the paper with it. So I am getting some gorgeous colors, and really sorry about that noise. We have people here cutting our grass today because it's not raining here in Florida. So, you know, you got to do what you got to do very quickly before the rain starts again. So I'm pulling that directly to the paper, and I'm getting some gorgeous color. Really, really pretty color on this. So to me, I really, again, like that Strathmore with this. I'll come in with that Canson. Again, laying down that color. Gorgeous. And again, like this is a muted kind of color. It's not a bold teal. So like I said, you're going to get some great color out of these markers. Now the Arches is very textured, so I know I would probably have to do a couple of layers for this one. So they look good on all of them. Again, I like the Strathmore because these I can kind of still see the lines in there. So I'll go ahead and set these aside, and then we'll go in and do the other two colors or other two papers here. So again, I'm just going to come in directly and scribble on some of that color. This one you can see here, the Stonehenge has a lot of texture in that. And then I'll pull. I'll just pull that color right through. All right, so again, for me, I do not like them directly dry on wet. I mean, dry on directly to the paper. And then we'll grab out the hot press and the two Bristol. Again, just gonna scribble directly on here. And then pull the color. So even on the hot press, they're really not moving. It did move some on that Bristol, but again, you can definitely see the streakiness on it. Next, I'll come in, again, right on that mat. Just make a little color spot and grab some of the color and then go right in. So if I'm using these kind of markers, this is how I usually do it. I usually put down the color and then bring it over to the paper. it actually works very well on that Bristol. Very, very well on that Bristol. And then it did very well on this Bristol as well. So I would not go directly to the paper with these markers. Just the way I would do it. I'm gonna set these aside and I'll bring back in these two here. I am gonna scribble just a little bit more of that gorgeous teal on there. And then go ahead and grab some more. So it does work great on the Stonehenge. This is seeming to become like one of my favorite papers. And then it looks really great on the Spectrum as well. All right, perfect. Now let's keep it going. I'm gonna move these out the side, bring back in the other ones that I had. And I'm going to first wet my paper before I bring in the color. So I'm going to switch my colors here. And I'll start with the red. For me to know the colors, I think I need to maybe put something on the end to say where the color is, because sometimes if I'm watercoloring, I like to list the colors I used, and it's going to be kind of hard with these markers if I don't have them set up as they are in the trays. So I just need to keep that in mind. I'm going to grab that larger brush and I'm just going to add some water directly to here so I can just pick the color up. I'm going to wet my paper first and then I'll go ahead and grab my color and we'll see how that moves. Now that is great. I like the look of that, and I get a really good gradation on that as well. Remember, if you use a lot of water on a piece of paper, the color is going to move. And it also depends on the paper as well. So I am able to get a really good gradient of color in these markers. We'll go ahead and set those two aside and we'll come over to these two. Again, I'm just going to pick up some of that water, bring it directly to my paper, and then start adding in the color. So you can see on some papers, it moves a little bit quicker. So that's why I always say to you guys, learn your paper, see which paper you like, because it's going to move differently. And that can have a lot to do with how your coloring comes out as well. So that was the Strathmore cold press. We're gonna come in with the Canson. Again, just putting down some water, grabbing the color, and then washing that out with just water. So again, I do get a really good gradation on this one. We'll come back in with the Aqua one. So I'll just finish all of the watercolor papers. A little bit of color or a little bit of water down. And then I'll go ahead and drop that color in. So it works very well on a Stonehenge. And then the last one was the Aqua. Now I have a couple of packs of this paper. I don't use it very often, but I did want to test the color on this, because I like to just make sure I know how it's going to work with each one of the paper pads I have. So you get a great variation of that color as well. So far so good on all the watercolor paper. Let's go ahead and bring in that Bristol paper and the hot press paper. Now this is not watercolor paper, these two here, so I just want to be gentle on the amount of water I put down. But on the hot press, I'm going to go ahead and go for it and put that down and grab the color. And as you can see, I can get a really good color on that as well. Hot press does not have a lot of tooth to it, so that's fantastic if you want your colors to kind of be a little bit softer without it being rough in texture. Now these I'm going to be careful with, so I'm only going to add a smidget, because again, like I said, this is not watercolor paper. That looks great. So I do know some people, when they are using Bristol paper, that they don't go directly to the paper because of that line issue I was talking about. So they do take the color and pick it up and then put it to the paper. Because again, it's not going to be able to hold as much of the water, and the paper will start to like peel up a little bit. So all right, those look good. I think they're working perfectly on all of them. All right, next I'm going to wipe up this color. And we'll pull out that green. And then I'm going to go right back to the cold press paper. Bring those back in. Now I want to see how well the colors mix. So you know what? I need to grab myself, I'm going to go back to that first tray. And I'm going to grab myself a darker green because I want to see how these colors blend. So I'll make a little spot of my green or my lighter green. And then I'll make one of the darker green. So you can totally see those two colors are clearly different. And I'm going to go in with the smaller brush this time, just making sure that my water is flowing. And I'm just going to pick up directly from the mat and place down some color. And then I'm going to go right into that darker color. And I just want to see how well they blend. So again, I'll come back in with that darker. Yeah, and they work very, very well on that Canson paper. Gorgeous. Can you guys see that? That is beautiful. All right, so we got the Canson. Then we'll do the fluid again, picking the color up here and bringing it to the paper. And then going right into that darker color and working it into that lighter color. Just want to go in a little bit darker so I can see that gradation of color. Yeah, they blend perfectly. Perfectly. Now I'm going to blend these because they're close together, but then I want to blend colors that are not close together. So again, come in with that arches, put in that color, again going right across, and then I'll pick up the darker one. And I have a tendency to go from the outside into the color instead of putting like the harsh line right there. I like to go from the opposite end and kind of blend into the next color. All right, this is the Strathmore Cold Press. Again, going right across and picking up that dark color. And again, I'm getting a really nice blend on these, a really pretty blend. But again, these colors are very similar, very close. So stay tuned because I am going to go ahead and do it with another color. So I'm going to grab that lighter green again and just add a little bit more to my palette. Again, pick up that color, go across. Now, obviously this is just a quick tutorial. When I'm coloring, I will obviously take more time to lay down my color, but I wanted you guys to see these in action because you can pick these up off of Amazon. They're on Amazon right now, and then I believe you can pick them up directly from the store as well. And I'll make sure to put some links in here for you. So again, grabbing that color off the mat and then pulling in the other green. So yeah, very pretty. I know on some of them it looks a little bit darker. Now we'll bring in those Bristol papers and the hot pressed paper. Again, very light wash. And then that darker color. Yeah, these are beautiful. And again, if I use wet, pulling that color in, it works so much better than doing the dry. And then let's do the hot press. Put down a little bit more color because these are actually, you know, a little bit watered now. And we'll grab some. Again, this is not watercolor paper, so I want to kind of be not generous, but very light with the water so it does not buckle my paper. And even on the Bristol, it looks really, really good. Again, I'm doing a very light hand with that water because it's not that watercolor paper. And last, we'll go in with that green, and we'll come in with this green. Again, not a lot of water on these. So they look really well. I really like this Canson one though. That looks gorgeous. That absolutely looks gorgeous. And also on the fluid hot press. Again, it has a lot to do with your paper. All right, so let's clean that up. And now I want to do two shades that might not go together. So I'm going to grab that pink again and that teal and work those colors into the middle. Make myself a little puddle of water. You know what? I think I want to do the fatter brush this time. Now you can obviously work with a regular paintbrush. I just like this because when I do travel, I like to use these kind of water brushes instead of taking my good brushes with me. I don't like to take my good brushes out of the house because I'm always fearing that I'm going to lose them or TSA is going to confiscate them thinking that there's some kind of weapon, which they're not, because they have questioned me on my pencils and my markers before. So if they're going to take my markers and pencils away, yeah, I'm not getting on the flight. Just not getting on the flight. So I'll grab that pink and we'll put some of that pink down. Let me know if you guys travel with your expensive stuff or do you leave that home and travel with your less expensive stuff? Because I just have a fear that somebody's going to steal my stuff. All right, so we'll go back to that Bristol. And again, we have two different colors here. So let's see how well these colors blend. Again, just grabbing some of that color, not a heavy hand with that water. I'll grab that blue and bring that in, which will give me a pretty shade of purple. Now on the Bristol paper, I'm not liking it on the Bristol paper. It's kind of not moving the way I want to. So I'm going to come back in and I'll do it on the BLICK. Again, I'm not using a lot of water here. And I blend those in. Now that is a little bit better. I'm getting a very light shade of pink with that. But let's go ahead and try it on the hot press, which I think I'm going to have better success with. And pull this in. Yeah, and then I'm getting that gorgeous light purple right in the middle. Now I could do this in layers, which will give me even a darker color in the middle. But that looks great. Let me lift that up so you can kind of see that color in the middle right there. That's beautiful. That'd be pretty on a flower. Totally pretty on a flower. So we'll go back in with our watercolors now, or watercolor paper rather. And we'll go ahead and just start right up here. I'll put that pink down and then grab that teal and go in, and yeah, you can really see that purple on the watercolor paper. And like I said, you can go in layers and build up the color, but that makes a gorgeous shade of purple. Very, very pretty. Alrighty, next we'll do the Stonehenge. Again, I'm just gonna add a little bit more color so I can make sure I'm getting a great blend on this. Alrighty, now I do have a playlist that has a lot of things I've watercolored, so I'll make sure to link that above. And then I'll go back in with that gorgeous teal. I love that teal. Yeah, I'm getting a beautiful purple when I mix these two together. Love that color. I really would use all of those colors together, to be honest with you. Grab a little bit more of that pink. Again, it's going to work differently on the paper that you use. And again, from what I can tell, these are super blendable, super blendable. That's a good color right there. All right, and now the last ones. Again, I'm just gonna grab a little bit of this color. I'm really enjoying watercoloring. It just makes me like so relaxed when I do it. I just find that it's becoming more and more my coloring choice. It just like kind of soothes me out. And I do not get frustrated if something doesn't work. I will just step away and come back later. Don't let your crafting stress you out. Don't. It should not be stressing you out. It should be bringing you joy and happiness and giggles. It should bring you giggles. You guys know me. When I love something, I will giggle over it in a heartbeat. So don't let anything stress you out. If I can help you in any way, if you have any questions on anything that you might have seen in a video, please reach out to me. I will be more than happy to help you. And if I don't have the answer, I'll help you find the answer. That's what it's about in this crafting world. We need to share and be kind. And I might be at a level that somebody is well past my level and they're like an expert. And I feel sometimes reaching out to those people just for some advice is a great thing. It's a great thing. So if I have anything that I can share with you guys, you bet I'm going to share it with you. Okay, I'm going to grab that last load and put that down, and then I'll go back in with that gorgeous teal again. And that looks beautiful. So they are very blendable as well. As you can see, we're getting that gorgeous purple in between. And as it dries back, you can really see the concentration of this color. So especially right here on the Stonehenge, you can see that gorgeous purple as well as the spectrum paper. That's a gorgeous gradient right there. Absolutely gorgeous gradient. So for my money, I think these are pretty good markers. They would definitely be a marker I would travel with. And because there's such a vast arrangement of colors here, but you can see exactly how perfectly these work. They're very pretty. I have to say, they are gorgeous. I would prefer to definitely have them on watercolor paper. Definitely on watercolor paper compared to any of the other like Bristol papers. They just don't work for me, and it's because maybe I would say I don't practice a lot of watercolor on Bristol paper. I just don't. However, I do love it on the Stonehenge right here. I don't really care for any of them direct besides the Strathmore cold press. I do like it directly on this because I was able to really blend out some of these harsh lines, but again, that has a lot to do with the paper you're using. I do want to just try something really quick while I have you here. I'm just going to grab that red and I'm just going to kind of like write with them to see like if you could do any lettering with these. And the tip is really good. Now, trust and believe, Dana Joy is not a letterist. I don't do calligraphy because I suck at it. It's one of the things that I do want to learn before this year is over with. I need to really focus on doing it. But these work really well. As you can see, I'm just doing it directly to the paper. And they are pretty smooth on this paper, I have to say. I'm going to try the Bristol really quick too. The tips are really good and flexible. I like that. Now we'll just try it on the Bristol before we go. And yeah, they work great on the Bristol. So I would say even if you were doing lettering, that these will look pretty as well. All right. Okay, everybody, so I'm gonna clear this out of the way and bring back in my markers here. So I wanna say, this is the biggest pack that they have. Then I believe they have a 20 pack and maybe a 40 pack, I think is the next size of colors, I guess I'm gonna say. Yeah, the next size of colors. I would definitely recommend these. I do love all of the color variations, all the marker colors that I get here, and I will swatch out every single color. Anytime I bring a new product in my room that is a medium that I get to use over and over again, I like to color swatch them because I need to see what they look like, because sometimes the color won't be the same as it is on the tip. So I'm just gonna pull that pink one back out. So, you know, I always like to make sure that it matches the color, because if this color does not come out looking right on here, then I know that. And if you don't color swatch, you're not going to know that. It might also look different on the pieces of paper that you use. So keep that in mind as well. But for the price point, I think these are really good markers to have in your stash. And I think they would be something that you can totally use traveling. Would be an easy way to go with this. And like I said, in the 100 watercolor pens, there's a boatload of colors from you guys to choose from. So it's up to you. I like to have more color choices than less color choices. That's my preference, so I don't have to like kind of custom blend to get a color. I like to already have the color made. But I'm going to learn to do better. I'm going to learn to do better. So that is it today. Tell me what you think in the video. Tell me which one of these colors or papers you like the water pens on. Give me some feedback, you guys. Leave a comment below. Don't forget to subscribe if you haven't subscribed. Make sure to like and share as well. And I will see you guys in another video soon. Bye-bye.